the start of the movie, we see a young boy named Miles who loves Spider-Man, but his dad doesn't like Spider-Man, which is why Miles isn't very open with his dad. In his free time, Miles spends time with his Uncle Aaron. Miles is very focused on his studies and lives in a school dormitory. He usually visits home on the weekends. As the weekend was ending, he needed to go back to school. Uncle Aaron took Miles to an empty subway station. Uncle Aaron asks Miles to paint the wall because Miles loves spray painting. Excited, Miles starts painting with a spray can and creates beautiful graffiti. While he's painting, a radioactive spider appears and bites Miles. In other Spider-Man movies, we've only seen one Spider-Man, but something new is about to happen. Miles starts to change day by day. He grows taller, starts sweating a lot, and things he touches become sticky. Miles doesn't understand these changes and is confused about what's happening to him. Miles discovers he can walk on walls, and even when he studies, everything sticks to him. Curious about what happened at the subway station, he goes back to check it out. He sees the spider that bit him and realizes it's a radioactive spider because it's glowing with electricity. While there, Miles spots Spider-Man fighting someone and notices a huge machine called a collider. A collider is a massive machine that can bring people from different dimensions or send people from Earth to another dimension. This collider, however, isn't well made, which makes it dangerous. The villain, Kingpin, is shown fighting Spider-Man. Kingpin might be trying to contact someone from another dimension, but Spider-Man knows that the collider could destroy the world. Miles watches Spider-Man secretly, taking it all in. Peter Parker senses that Miles has superpowers similar to his own. Meanwhile, Kingpin activates the collider, causing a powerful monster to fight Spider-Man. As the collider starts up, it sends out waves that kill the monster, but Peter Parker gets badly injured. Miles goes to Peter, who gives him a USB and tells him he must stop the collider at any cost because if it's activated again, it could destroy the Earth. After Miles leaves, Kingpin checks to see if Spider-Man is still alive. When he finds out that Peter is still breathing, he finishes him off. Shocked by what he witnessed, Miles runs back to his house. The villain Prowler chases him, and when Miles arrives home, his parents are surprised to see him since it's not the weekend yet. Miles asks his parents if he can stay the night. Meanwhile, the news reports that the Spider-Man who saved the city has died. The next day, Miles buys a Spider-Man costume. Miles goes to a memorial event where Peter Parker's wife is giving a tribute. The place is filled with people wearing Spider-Man costumes. This is when Miles realizes that it's now his responsibility to save the city. He has to take Spider-Man's place and tries to do the things Peter Parker used to do. Feeling overwhelmed, Miles goes to Peter Parker's grave. There, he notices a man who looks just like Peter Parker but soon realizes this man is from another dimension. When the collider was activated and Peter Parker died, it brought this other Spider-Man into Miles' world. This Spider-Man is older, about 35 to 40 years old, a bit overweight, and his name is Peter B. Parker. Peter B. Parker came to Miles' dimension when the collider turned on. Miles takes him from the graveyard, and they manage to escape through the busy traffic. Peter B. Parker eventually frees himself, and Miles explains that the USB he was using to perform different stunts is now broken. Without it, they don't know how to shut down the collider. Together, they decide they must stop the collider no matter what. They suspect that others might have arrived from different dimensions too. So, they decide to create a new USB and realize they need to visit Kingpin's office to do it. Miles is still struggling to control his powers, so Peter B. Parker tells him to wait outside while he goes into the office. However, as Peter B. Parker heads inside, Miles starts worrying about losing him too, just like the original Spider-Man. Unable to stay put, Miles decides to follow him into the office. Inside, he encounters Dr. Olivia Octavius. It turns out that Miles was bitten by a special, powerful spider, giving him the ability to become invisible. When Dr. Octavius arrives, Miles quickly makes himself invisible. While she's distracted, he tries to hack the computer but fails, so he grabs the CPU instead and tries to leave. Dr. Octavius notices Spider-Man and realizes that the Spider-Man from this dimension has died, so Peter B. Parker must be from another dimension. She runs some tests on his cells and discovers that they are deteriorating quickly. If he stays in this dimension too long, he'll eventually die. Meanwhile, Dr. Octavius realizes her CPU is missing. Miles has taken it. Later, Dr. Octavius reveals her true identity and starts chasing Miles and Peter B. Parker. They manage to escape the building, but Dr. Octavius continues to pursue them. Suddenly, another Spider-Man appears. This time, it's a female spider. She turns out to be Miles' classmate in this dimension, but in another dimension, she is a female Spider-Man named Gwen. In her dimension, she had a male Spider-Man as her partner. Kingpin's story is also revealed. One day, he was about to defeat Spider-Man when his wife and baby arrived and saw his true nature. Horrified, they left him, but tragically, they got into a car accident and died. This loss drove Kingpin to create the Collider, hoping to bring his wife and child back from another dimension. Miles, Gwen, and Peter B. Parker then head to Spider-Man's house, where they meet Peter Parker's aunt. She immediately realizes that Peter B. Parker is not her Spider-Man. She leads them to a secret room filled with Spider-Man's gear. There, they meet 3 other versions of Spider-Man, each from different dimensions. The 3 other Spider people they meet are Penny Parker, Spider-Man Noir, and Spider-Ham. They all agree to help deactivate the Collider. Miles volunteers to go with them, saying he'll deactivate the Collider after they return to their dimensions. However, the group doubts Miles' ability to handle the task, which deeply hurts him. Feeling unable to share his feelings with his parents, Miles calls his Uncle Aaron for support. When Uncle Aaron asks Miles to meet him, Miles goes, but soon senses something strange. He realizes that Prowler, a feared villain, is nearby. To his shock, Miles discovers that Prowler is actually his Uncle Aaron. Surprised and scared, Miles runs away. Uncle Aaron doesn't realize it's Miles. He only sees someone in a Spider-Man costume. Prowler chases Miles, who eventually escapes to Spider-Man's house, where everyone is waiting for him. Miles tells the group that his Uncle Aaron is Prowler. Just then, the door bursts open, and they are confronted by Kingpin's entire army, including Goblin, Prowler, and Scorpion. In the battle, Kingpin aims to defeat all the Spider people. Prowler chases Miles and catches him, pulling off his mask. To his shock, Prowler realizes that Miles is Spider-Man. Unable to harm his nephew, Prowler hesitates. Seeing this, Kingpin decides to end Prowler himself, killing Uncle Aaron in the process. Miles' father, a police officer, arrives at the scene. He sees Uncle Aaron dead and blames him for the situation. Meanwhile, Miles returns to Spider-Man's house, where the other Spider people are waiting. They tell Miles that he can't join them in their mission to shut down the Collider. Only Peter B. Parker can deactivate this dimension's Collider, and since Miles isn't able to do it, they lock him in a room to prevent him from interfering. Feeling helpless and depressed, Miles watches as the Spider people leave. His father is also worried about him, distressed by the chaos in the city and upset for Miles. While locked up, Miles discovers he has another power, bioelectric venom. Using this power, he escapes and heads to Spider-Man's aunt's house to retrieve the USB. Meanwhile, Kingpin organizes a huge party in tribute to Spider-Man, where everyone is in Spider-Man costumes. This allows the other Spider people to enter the event without being noticed. They make their way to the Super Collider. Miles, now able to control his powers after many challenges, joins them. Dr. Olivia Octavius and Kingpin's other henchmen also arrive at the Collider. A fierce battle erupts between the Spider people and Kingpin's forces. As the Collider activates, the Spider people start to return to their own dimensions. Penny Parker, Spider-Man Noir, and Spider-Ham all leave, leaving only Miles behind because Peter B. Parker has returned to his dimension as well. Miles faces off against Kingpin, who is desperately searching for his family. When Kingpin can't find them, he turns his anger towards Miles, throwing everything he can at him. Despite being outmatched and in severe pain, Miles refuses to give up. Summoning all his courage, he attacks Kingpin using his bioelectric venom powers, determined to stop him. Kingpin is defeated, and Miles successfully shuts down the Collider. As he finishes, Miles' father watches and realizes that Spider-Man has saved everyone. However, he doesn't recognize that Spider-Man is actually Miles. Worried that his father might be concerned, Miles decides to call him. Still wearing his mask, Miles approaches his father to say goodbye. With that, Miles officially becomes the new Spider-Man of the city. The other Spider people return to their respective dimensions, and with their departure, this comic story comes to an end. Enjoyed the story? Don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more amazing recaps and adventures. Your support helps us keep creating great content. Thanks for watching.